Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to do it for real?
What?
You want to do it now or in 7 minutes?
At 5:30.
Count it. Just let people know what's going on.
Yeah. I guess it's not 5:30.
Have to have both of them here or one of them?
one.
We just need one.
Good evening. This is the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. We currently are without all quorum, so we're going to hang tight for a few minutes to see if anyone else will arrive to
There's Joe.
make our quorum. And we have one, so we'll turn on the mic in a couple minutes here. Thank you.
Hi, John.
Hi, John. Okay, we'll go ahead and start then.
All right, good evening. We'll go ahead and call to order the December meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. We want to remind the people on that this is a Zoom meeting, and the meeting is being recorded and broadcasted on the city's YouTube channel and cable channel 25. Please remember to mute yourself during the meeting when you are not speaking, and make sure your phones are silenced. The chat function for the public meeting is disabled, and unless you are participating during the meeting, please turn your video off. This allows the active member participants to be seen on screen. You will still be able to hear the meeting when you are participating. Please turn your video on. If you have any trouble, you can send a message in the chat. The city reserves the right to mute people or turn individual videos off to minimize distractions during the meeting. And I'll turn it back over to the chair.
All right, thank you. Our first agenda item is to review and approve the minutes. Any discussion or comments about the minutes?
I think so.
I think at this time I'll take a motion to approve. Taylor moved.
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved. We'll now turn to public comment. Is there anybody here to offer public comment?
You want me to talk about, John, what we talked about, or what? What do you want?
No, you should come up.
Before we do public comment, I know that, well, no, that's all right. I know Lisa had a question about the agenda and the printing of all the material that was added to it. There's no way I can actually group it together like that. So,
Okay.
but I'll try to do some kind of something with it once because it's already in the system.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Is this a 3-minute deal like the city commission has? Well, okay, briefly, I'm here on three interrelated items. One is Dean Palos and I are instigating the process of trying to get Watson Park on the historic landmark list. A couple years ago, when the transit people were looking at the same area, it went away because they went to 8th and Vermont. But then it comes up again recently. So I'm just trying to get some awareness of the importance of that park. Second of all, if you don't know, your basketball court's going away in the area. At the 11/23 OLS Lawrence meeting, the stormwater engineer talked about $4 million change order that's on tomorrow night's agenda that will destroy that, plus a lot of the park in there. But the original stormwater facility is underneath your pool, our pool. So they've got to do something with that. And of course, at that same meeting, the Old West Lawrence meeting, the consultant for the farmers market has come down to 2 sites, Watson Park and South Park. Now those are 171-year-old parks. And I'm just urging you to do what you should do and review that type of development. And you may think either one of those are great. I don't. I don't think they were platted to land bank that property 171 years later for business. Even though it's a perfectly fine nonprofit, that doesn't give them a freebie to do that. That's land that you will never get back. It's hard enough to get parkland in this city. We did it in the 90s when we had that sales tax property. We bought 3 different sites and land banked that, but for parks, not for development. They're up by north of the SPL, they're out by the jail, and then where the city police department is. That was all supposed to be parkland in the future. But okay, that's it. I'm done. If you have questions, I'm glad to answer. Just be aware of that. And, I don't know why they're not coming to you to make a presentation. It's amazing to me that maybe they are, but,
If you want to sign in, please, too, over there on that sheet, if you could, and if you state your name, I know everybody knows you, but if you could state your name, I'd appreciate that for the record as well.
Can I ask him a question? No?
It's just public comment.
Okay.
And are you going to address it? No.
The board items, though, we can ask.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Any other public comment?
And that was Mike Wilgen. I wanted you to state your name, too. No, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good.
Further questions?
No. We can't take questions right now on that. It's just public comment. Sorry. Okay. There's no public comment online that I see.
All right, thank you, Roger. The next agenda item is our KPI review.
Good evening, everybody. This is kind of a 101, so just to catch everybody up, make sure we're all on the same page. And I'm going to start with the advisory boards and the roles and responsibility of the advisory boards. Advisory boards in the City of Lawrence help the City Commission carry out the goals of the Lawrence Strategic Plan. Their main purpose is to provide information. Oh, can you pull up my presentation?
Sure.
And this camera is not at the right angle.
I was going to say, you're like,
Zoomed in a little?
we wanted to do some dental work on it.
And it's not really, it doesn't want to move, so you're going to look at my chin, I guess, for the evening.
It looks great.
Okay, so we have the strategic plan up. The main purpose is to provide informed advice and recommendations on policies, programs, and community priorities that support the city's vision and values. For example, the Unmistakable Identity Advisory Board's focus on helping Lawrence remain a welcoming community known for its arts, culture, parks, and vibrant downtown. Advisory boards receive direction from the City Commission through the strategic plan or other specific requests. Research and discuss issues within their area of focus, develop ideas and policy recommendations for the City Commission to consider, may form smaller subcommittees with approval from the City Commission to study topics in more detail as long as they meet publicly, give notice, and keep minutes for transparency. In short, advisory boards exist to connect community expertise with city leadership, ensuring decisions are thoughtful, transparent, and aligned with Lawrence's long-term goals. So that's the city's strategic plan component. And what I have on the desk in front of you are the laminated copies of our key progress indicators. These are actually from our conference room down at our admin offices, because we use them to reference things whenever we're having meetings and other things. So I share those with you, and I go to the next page. Just a quick go back to 2020. Following several weeks of in-depth community engagement, the Lawrence City Commission adopted the strategic plan framework on October 2020. The framework identifies our mission, vision, organizational values, 5 outcomes, and 6 commitments. That's all here. The 5 outcomes: unmistakable identity, strong, welcoming neighborhoods, safe and secure, prosperity and economic security, and connected city, define what the city aims to accomplish with and for the community. The 6 commitments: community engagement, efficient and effective processes, equity and inclusion, sound fiscal stewardship, engaged and empowered teams, and environmental sustainability, guide how we do our work. Progress is measured through key progress indicators, or KPIs. Each outcome has KPIs that align with the commitment areas. The unmistakable identity outcome includes 14 KPIs, and UI 1, 2, and UI 8 have been identified as priority measures for 2026 by the Outcome and Commitment Champions. So that's why those have indicators. KPI data is gathered through random community satisfaction surveys, internal performance metrics, select event attendance numbers, and annual attendance figures from our cultural community partners who are listed in UI 3. These measures help us track whether each KPI is increasing, declining, or holding steady. And we track all that on the webpage as well. So that was really all I had. And Lindsay, I didn't know if you wanted to address other things or...
I think one thing that Porter mentioned to remember, the 3 priority KPIs is something the city identified at the beginning of 2025 for us to focus on. So each outcome area has priorities that they identified. And so again, for unmistakable identity, it's UI 1, UI 3, and UI 8. And
1, 3, I thought it was 1, 2, and 8.
I believe it's 1, 3, and 8.
I may have missed,
Yeah.
Did I misspeak? I'm sorry, I wrote down 2 instead of 3.
1, 3, and 8.
1, 3, and 8.
Sorry.
Yeah, 3 has a month.
Yep,
1, 3, and 8.
I was doing my Vanna White over here.
So what is 3?
And those will carry over into 2026. Sorry, Roger.
No, go ahead.
It's my understanding that those, for now, are going to continue to be the priorities until, further notice.
All I was going to add was that the laminated sheets you have on the table here is the same thing what's on the screen right now. And we have those in our conference room, so when we have meetings and discussions, we always have these things as our reference points and framing things that we do on a daily basis. So.
And I just want to add, as somebody who's been working with this or within the strategic plan now for many years, we had our holiday extravaganza event this weekend. Great. The KPIs are great, and they give us measurement to tell us, where's that needle going? Are we moving forward? Are we moving backward? Are we holding steady? The other thing we're seeing on the event side is sort of more nuanced things that may not get measured. For instance, like at the holiday extravaganza, as I walked around to different booths and things, what I noticed was a lot of these artisans are very committed to environmental sustainability. So in a way, not by any design we have, but we're attracting people who are doing that kind of work and recycling wood and materials for their purposes. And I'm seeing that in other events, that there's more sensitivity to recycling. So it's just interesting to see how this is actually trickling down even more than what we're measuring directly. So just FYI, a little insight that kind of popped in my head.
And from a team, we also look at the BIPOC areas, looking
Right.
at how we can attract those demographics to come and be participants as vendors. And we've seen an uptick in that as well.
Yeah.
With some of the things we've tried to do and reach out to different communities.
My question, so it says, number of people who have visited, is that in relation to, who came last year? Or is there a performance indicator in terms of increasing the number of people who attend at these things, or trying to stay steady? Is there or it's just, the number of people I'm not sure what that measures up against.
That's a great question. I know for at least the past 4 or 5 years, it's just measuring up against, the year before. And so we do track that data so you can see. There is a goal, and it is listed on our website on the dashboard. And so there is a target number, but that is something that we're also discussing with the outcome champions to identify and refine the strategies and come up with new targets and new goals. And so I know that's something that we're continuing to work on, that we'll, set, and adjust those each year. But for now, there is the historical data that you can go back and compare to at least see what the history has been.
Okay. And we don't have I see the tourism center, so
Correct.
Is that,
We've
yeah.
made note of that.
Okay.
So it is listed now on the website. It notes that will not be part of the data for next year. So we are, aware and making sure to note that the numbers will change. Also with the rec center data, that should drastically change.
Right.
Because now once we start charging memberships, the data will be more accurate. And so the numbers could be a lot different for 26 than we've seen previously.
Yeah, okay.
Is that, and that's a holistic goal, combining all of those things? Because all those are obviously very, but
Yes.
holistic.
It gives one number. So when you look at the dashboard on the website, it gives one number, but we have all the numbers separated out individually and can provide that information.
And that's just like year to year end, not just like a specific event.
Correct. Yeah, it's for the entire year. So in January, we will be updating the website and we'll put all of the numbers from 25 and we'll get that updated.
Taylor,
And one
if you
thing,
look-
since
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say for events, so we do have, if you look at UI 4 and UI 10,
Oh, okay.
it's number of residents who have attended select events in the past year, and also number of non-residents who have attended select events in the past year. We work with Explore Lawrence. We've identified a list of key events, and then they provide us data on attendance numbers.
Awesome.
And I think it's important with KPIs, this isn't a scoring or grading, it's just where are we, what's happening. So it allows us to see, to Lindsay's point, if something changes, it may change the KPI. That's not necessarily bad, but we want to know what happened that made that change. Sorry.
I also know, since we're talking about, I wanted to follow up from last month. We had, when we pulled up the website, we saw the UI1 number had said updated in October of 25, but we know that the data had not been updated. And so I was able to confirm the way the system is set up. We meet quarterly with the outcome champions to look at our strategies and track our progress and see how we're doing. And then if you go in the system and make a note and say, we met with the, unmistakable identity outcome champion, it'll say it was updated in October, but that doesn't mean the data was updated. So that particular, the UI1 graph, the way it reads with this software system, it says updated in October, but the data itself was not updated. So that's something that I've noted, and I've shared with staff to talk about different ways to maybe display the information so it's not confusing to the public. And it's just that particular one. The other KPIs, I believe, just show a graph or a different type of graphic.
Thank you for that follow-up. That was actually one of my questions because it is very misleading.
Yeah.
It appears that there's a new data point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shared that. And
Maybe there's something we can do in the language below the graph too, that we can just put in that says
yeah.
what you just stated, that it was a meeting and that.
Yep. So I shared that. So we'll see if there's maybe a different way to display it. Another thing, while we're on the topic for specifically UI1 data, the city is going to be releasing a new community survey. And so I know I don't believe it's been done since 22.
Oh, wow.
23, I think it's been. So that will be, I believe there's a news release coming out later this week with more information on that. So that is good news, and we will have new data then to report for the satisfaction survey.
That's pretty amazing since Olathe does a survey every quarter. Based on services the previous quarter. So, in the spring, they'll do one asking about how do we do with roads in the stormwater. And my understanding is department heads, their bonuses are, tailored to those performance.
So I have a question about the overall purpose and what you mentioned. You indicated that we can form subcommittees?
With permission from the city commission,
Okay.
if you have a certain topic, what we've been advised is, if there's something specific that the board wants to investigate, research, that type of thing, then that request should go to the city commission to see if there's interest from them. If so, then a subcommittee could be formed to do something like that.
Okay. So since key performance indicator, I'm going to get the number wrong, 8, is around number of scholarships, and that kind of interacts with, I think, something that there's a lot of interest in terms of the qualified fee rates. Could the board consider asking the commission to set up a subcommittee that looks at the uptake of scholarships and those qualified membership rates over the next year?
I think that would be fine. I just want to clarify that the UI8 is for our scholarship program, which the qualified rates is not connected to that funding. And so
Yeah.
just to make
Yeah,
it clear that it's not using any of the funding from the scholarship program, which is what UI8 is tracking.
Yeah, I do understand that. I think that they might be connected in that they would tell us a little bit about the extent to which income disadvantaged populations are able to access the Parks and Rec services and facilities.
Can I get some clarification? Can you rephrase what you said? I don't understand the difference of what you were talking about.
So,
I'm sorry, the number.
Yeah, UI8 tracks the scholarships that we provide. So we have an adult scholarship program and the We Folks, which is for youth. That is for Parks and Recreation programs.
Okay.
Separately, as Vicki mentioned, with our new rec center membership fees, we have a qualified rate. That's not connected to our scholarship program. It's not using any funds. It's just, the only thing we do similar is use the same criteria to determine if you're eligible. But the qualified access membership is what it's called, is not using any funds from our scholarship programs. So when you said that, I just wanted to make sure you were clear.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so the rate is free. I mean, if you qualify,
So,
it's not using funding from the scholarship program.
I understand, but
Yeah.
it's the same metric that you're using.
Correct. It's the criteria. Yeah, we're using the same eligibility criteria to determine the qualified access membership. So that is how it's connected. But again, if you want to tie that, if you're wanting to tie in UI8, that doesn't connect to our membership program. So that's all I
I
wanted to
do
clarify.
get that. I think it just, the common point for me is that their income criteria, and that both of those would reflect if people, have barriers to use of our facilities, are they still using them? Are we meeting those barriers through either of those approaches? So we could, if we wanted, if there was interest.
yeah,
from
what
the board.
we'd have to do is somebody have to, you'd have to have not a nomination, but you'd have a first and a second.
Okay.
And a vote
Yeah.
on that motion to send it to the city commission, and then I would present it to them
Okay,
with support from from you. all.
okay.
I would also advise to have a really clear direction of
Right.
what you plan to do, how it
Okay.
would be done, and what the result might
Yeah.
be.
So some of this could be a topic for the committee, like a subcommittee. You could say that you're wanting to form a subcommittee to do this work. So they get together and get the work, they bring it back and present it to the advisory board for, you first have to ask the city commission if this is something that you want them to do.
Right.
But even that, you're going to have to spell out. So to me, that's going to be an agenda item that you'll discuss.
Yeah,
and come up with some clarity to it, which I know you probably will because of your experience with policy and everything too. And then present that to the city commission, they decide, and then you could actually form the subcommittee and look at the data we currently have, I guess, and then look at, if you're looking at it for 25, then we'd have, so.
Sure.
You have to basically develop that whole scope.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
I'm going to comment as a former city commissioner and mayor. It sounds very boring to me.
Okay. So as a board member, you would have no interest in?
I didn't run for office in order to make these, very specific decisions. No. But maybe that's what the commission is about these days. I don't know. I hope not, but.
Well, it seems to me that it would be, logical and beneficial for us to track the data of scholarships that we're providing, given the new fees. Is that what we're talking? I mean, am I getting that right? I mean, that.
We are tracking the data, so I don't know if that's, I don't think that's the.
Okay,
that's her question.
Okay, can you clarify what the.
Well, and also, I think it's just whether there'd be interest among the board, because I hear you saying that doesn't sound interesting at all. Setting up a subcommittee is something that we can do. Yeah. If it's a topic that connects to the key performance indicators, right, and is a project that we'd want.
I'll read the exact policy language, which I happen to have, just so we're really clear. Advisory boards shall receive direction from the governing body via the city's strategic plan and assigned work priorities or via other specific direction that the governing body may provide. Subcommittees. Any advisory board may, with the approval of the governing body, establish a subcommittee or subcommittees drawn from its appointed members. Each subcommittee so established shall, at a minimum, provide public notice of its meetings, hold and conduct open public meetings, and keep action minutes for review and acceptance by the appropriate advisory board. So it does entail public meetings. It can't be meetings outside of, a public situation, just FYI.
Okay. I was simply trying to gauge whether there's interest in having a smaller group convene as a subcommittee that we would propose to the commission to really focus on keeping an eye on UI 8, as well as the number of users who are using as qualified members. And that interest is really rooted in what I've received as feedback around concern that people who have income constraints are simply not going to use Parks and Rec facilities with the new membership program. And I think that so being able to keep an eye on that, trying to think through strategies to promote the availability of scholarships, as well as the qualified income membership seems valuable. I also think it could enhance or ultimately result in greater transparency, which I think, again, is a concern that I've heard a lot about.
Same.
That would be my case statement, but we are a small group already, so it feels like, interest would be hard to.
I would be interested in that.
I think, so this data is collected.
Correct.
Like, we could go on the dashboard and
Yes.
see the percentage of need that's met, and we could see the number of recipients.
It was like 276 for last year.
And I'm just wondering if in the next, maybe quarter one, we have that as the director's report. And then if we see something that's alarming, maybe then we form a subcommittee to address our concerns that are being shown. it just, I think it's really, thank you for bringing this up, Vicki, because I guess I didn't look at 7 and 8. But if we could get a report on that, just a very sort of pointed report there, then we would, because right now I don't know a baseline really.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I can certainly live with that, looking at it in the first quarter. It did look like the percentage is almost always 100%. And I suspect that's because maybe you could fund a lot more than 276 scholarships. So,
Correct.
yeah.
UI 7 is a little misleading because it's talking about, sorry, am I saying the right one?
I think so.
It's the percent of scholarship need that is met. We have not turned down anyone who's requested a scholarship. So UI 8 is our priority. We're focusing more on that one. It's the number, which we've identified with our commitment champion as that is the more important one that we need to be tracking. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we have quarterly meetings with our commitment champions. We discuss this. We have targets. We have strategies. So those are things that we are tracking. And so I can find out if we can give a quarterly update. Again, this is something typically that we report on an annual basis. So I just want to be mindful of that, but I can find out if that's something that we can provide.
That'd be great.
That's where you want to go.
That seems reasonable to wait to see how things are looking and reassess.
The only thing I would also say is we won't have anything to compare it to at that time. Since we do this on an annual basis, in March, I'm not going to be able to tell you if it's common for us to have this certain number in March. So I just, again, want to be mindful of that. We can provide data, but since we haven't been tracking it in that manner, I just want to.
Since I'm the liaison to this board, I'm also thinking of, how can we be proactive as a board? And maybe it's looking at ways to get information out to the communities that we're wanting to reach regarding our scholarship program, about our qualified rate as well. And attack it on that basis a little bit, and trying to see if we're going to be if there's something else we could do to help foster that understanding that we want to see out there in the community as a department and the city. Potentially, just a thought.
Yeah, that's a good point. Other comments or discussion on this agenda item?
I would be really interested in exploring the subcommittee that you referenced in the future, if that's something that you want to continue to look into, because I think that would be really important.
But let me clarify. This is about the facility scholarships or the program?
Not a scholarship.
I know.
It's a rate. Well, I mean, I want to make sure that people understand that there's not money that's given.
Yeah, I know.
people.
So it's
a
really
rate.
It's a reduction of revenue that you won't be seeing, basically, because it's
Correct.
not funded from anywhere. But you have no baseline to base it on to know if it's being successful or not. You won't know that for a year to be able to compare that. The 270-some scholarships now are programs, whether they're youth programs, adult programs. So you can track those and base those on last year's or 5 years ago. But right now, we have nothing to give us an idea whether or not 20 of them, 50 of them, 100 of them are where we need to be. And is the scholarship application too cumbersome? Why are people not doing it? Because it's available. I mean, all they have to do is apply. We haven't turned anybody away yet.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but part of the work of that subcommittee, what I'm hearing, maybe not so, would be exploring what is the barriers to access those. Is that, am I getting that right?
Right.
Yeah. Because, I mean, anytime that you are establishing some sort of scholarship where you have to enter, there is going to be a barrier to access. So that would be part of that subcommittee work, right? Okay.
Explain, a barrier to access what?
Either of the two things.
Of the application? I mean, because that's happened right now. I mean, that's the reason that we hear a lot of people say, well, my kids can't play in this program because we can't afford it, and we don't have the time to fill out the application. So then what do you do? I mean, again, there's always going to be a barrier, there's always going to be a reason why. But you have to gauge it on some, is the 276 where we're at right now with programs, is that high, is that low, is it where we should be? Do we need to be doing more? Are there kids not playing because they can't get there? We don't know.
I think that could be the focus of some of what the committee explores, though, right?
Yeah, I think that the department does a pretty good job of getting that information out, but I don't disagree if you want to, go farther and find out, are we missing some kids that aren't participating because they can't pay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing with whether or not it's seniors that can't afford $8 a month, or somebody that's not a senior, $12 a month. Is that the hurdle? And have you applied for a scholarship or a qualified rate? And if not, why? Maybe it's a survey. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that could be the function of the committee also. And I think that it has been said that the qualified membership is the path to assure access for people who can't afford the new membership structure. So having information and making it public provides a level of transparency that I think community members hope for. And I think that could be something that the committee functions, because you are absolutely right. You don't have a comparator. We don't know.
We don't know.
But at the same time, if we get to the end of the year and we say we only had 20 folks, I mean, you can sort of say like, wow, well, we know the percentage of our population that experiences low income or poverty or needs support through programs like SNAP. So it's kind of odd that we only have 20. And could you make sense of that as you go to try to adjust and try to do more to get those folks access?
Well, and that's where I was kind of going with,
Yeah.
is let's look at the methods
Yeah.
and where we are where we're targeting now, to see if those are the right targets, and have that discussion before we venture into some of the other barriers, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah, that's fair. Any other discussion on this particular agenda item?
Why don't you make a motion, Vicki, then it'll be in the minutes.
I think I'm the chair. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to make a motion.
Really?
Well, you can, but it's not typical, but
Yeah.
you can if you
Go ahead.
want to.
Vicki, are you interested in starting that subcommittee like now, or, because I heard, Ruth speak about like analyzing the first round of data. What direction are you interested in starting it now, or do you want to?
I can go either way. I am aware that it would probably take time to get onto the city commission for review, so that'd be my only other.
Right. And as liaison, let me give you some thoughts here. We have a new SAT commission that's, 2 meetings in. We have a board where we have one person missing. Now, I know that she's more than likely in line thinking. That would be my guess. We have a 7th person that's not seated yet. So do we want to have a full board discussion before you venture down and set up a subcommittee? That's just some thoughts.
I think that is fair, particularly because we're a lean group right now, so.
I mean, we can continue to, if we want to put that on next month's agenda item as an item that we can discuss further, specific to what you're wanting, we can do so. And then from there, you can take that committee approach and thing, if that's what you so desire.
Well, and I also know the staff has been having those meetings of how to sign people up and get the membership fees, or, get people signed up for membership. So surely there's been feedback in some of that, and are people expressing to you in person in those meetings what's difficult about, getting a qualified rate, or is there some, I am guessing you've had meetings about what you've heard at some of those things, or phone calls as the things have gone into place?
We have, but so far I think it's been pretty smooth. I know we've had some individuals sign up, and we've worked through the process and didn't have any issues. So I have not received any complaints so far. So for now, it's out there, it's fine. Our staff are trained. We have all the information available at all the different facilities. So we haven't heard any complaints yet.
Can I ask a follow-up question about that? So I did see there was like 2 Lawrence Times articles that came out where the new city commission is going to look into changing trajectory. With that, has there been any conversation or thought to pushing back the rollout of the fees from Parks and Rec with that? I mean, I think the original date you guys said was after the holiday, January 3rd.
It's January 5th.
January 5th, I'm sorry. Has there been any conversation about pushing that back, given that they're going to be kind of revisiting that? To just like, I mean, you could see how it would be confusing if they do change trajectory and we've already rolled it out. Does that make sense? Has there been any conversation about that?
As of now, no, because we have a budget that's been approved, and until we're given different direction from the commission, we are continuing our plan. We do not have the funds to delay this or push it back, and so we have to continue with our plan. So as of now, we aren't changing our trajectory. We're full steam ahead, and I know it's going to be on the agenda for December 16th to discuss with the commission. So at that time, if we are given different direction, then we will change our plan based on what the commission wants us to do. But otherwise, we can't delay or change our plan because the budget starts January 1st, and this is the approved budget that we are following.
And we're kind of getting
Yeah.
off
Oh, good
topic
question, though.
too with the KPI,
Yeah.
the actual item on the agenda, just to kind of keep.
Sorry.
No.
It's fine.
No, I mean, I think these are discussions that need to be had. I'm just saying we're kind of venturing into other territory now, so.
All right, any other discussion on this item? All right, we will move on in the agenda to board items. We're at reports and roundtable, but board items, and I think we're going to hear from John and Lee about your 2 groups that you're part of.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to talk about the North Lawrence Corridor Study. First of all, the name of the title of the study is a little misleading, I think, because when we took out, I don't know about you guys, but when we took about the corridor, I think at North 2nd Street. Well, that's not what the boundaries of this are about at all. The boundaries of this project, which is looking at transportation and infrastructure, placemaking, which is why I wanted a spot on this, and then economic revitalization. Those are the 3 areas that this board is supposed to be looking at.
Can you repeat those, Larry? I'm sorry. Can you, transportation?
Transportation and infrastructure, placemaking, which is shaping public spaces and corridors to be welcoming, vibrant, and reflective of the neighborhood's unique character. Okay. And then economic revitalization. This is on the website, by the way,
Okay.
if you Google it. Yeah. But like I said, and I'll tell you what the boundaries are, okay? And it's because it's like, whoa, are you kidding me? The boundaries go north of the airport.
Oh,
Wow, that's way further than I thought it'd be.
So it's beyond the city.
yeah.
Yeah, so it includes some townships and so on and so forth. Okay, that's the north. The west, okay, is the middle of the river. Okay, and it goes all the way down and around, except when it gets to downtown. and then it comes over the river, over the bridge. So it incorporates like getting across, how do we get across the river? And then east, it goes beyond the city boundaries as well at this point, okay? So it's really, the boundaries are really more than we think of. The thing that really kind of got I think everybody's attention was there's a lot of public engagement on this. And so there was a meeting, a neighborhood, quote unquote, neighborhood meeting in North Lawrence. And it was at Woodlawn School. And the consultants, they're consultants here too. The consultants, I think they said they were prepared for 3 tables that people would sit around and, this and that. Over 100 people showed up. Oh, it was a mess. I mean, it was the craziest. I mean, it was like, oh my God. So there is a lot of interest. And part of that interest was the whole idea of getting across the river. Also the idea of, underneath the train tracks, a bunch of stuff. What was also pretty fascinating to me was you drive through North Lawrence now, you see that there's quite a few new homes, and new infrastructure. So curb and gutter and sidewalks. And then you go on other streets and no curb and gutter, no sidewalks, and people saying, that's the way we want it. We want our history. We want our history to be our hit. So this is going to be really interesting to see what the consultants come up with. So that's my report. There is going to be another meeting, and they're getting a bigger event space. If anybody is interested.
That's great.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention during public comment, and I'm sorry, I was distracted by something that was saying somebody was online. And that was the Cameron's Bluff recreational area email that we had, so that I just want to make sure that was aware that you all had that as part of the agenda, so.
And can I raise that issue as a board member item?
Let's wait until we get the other one, and then we'll
Okay.
have discussion on.
Okay.
Sorry,
well,
I have a
that's-
question.
For the north, which.
Yeah,
this
for
one?
John.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
Thank you.
John, are you representing this board at that? Okay, I
Correct.
kind of missed what the connection was in terms of
Yeah,
Parks and Rec.
they had asked
Okay.
for a member of our board, and there really wasn't, and he was, I think you were absent that.
I said I'd do it if he didn't, and I'm glad he did.
Actually,
And he was interested in it anyway, yeah.
The reason why I want to be on this committee is I want North Second Street to be attractive.
Yeah, no, I understand.
We've been
for
talking
sure,
about
but-
this for a long time.
Yeah.
That corridor.
Yeah.
I just didn't know your official role in terms of why it's reporting back to us, but okay, thank you.
Yeah, they had asked for advisory board member for our board.
Thank you, John.
The Unmistakable Event Grant Committee, I'm going to really turn it over to, he's got all the numbers, but, I mean, this was quite an experience because there were 33 applications requesting a total of $376,000, and we had 150.
Oh.
And I do believe of the 33 applicants, or 32, didn't we give 25 out?
Yeah.
Some sort of money?
Yeah.
The average they were asking for was somewhere around $11,500 each. Now, it was all over I mean, it took us a while to come up with percentages, and we could have done more with less people, but I think the group agreed that we wanted to get as many people, some money as possible to do these events in Lawrence and keep them going, and some of them have been around a long, long time, so I don't know if that's less than they've had before, but 150,000 went pretty quick. But you have all the numbers and.
You just had all the data I have, so no, one, I will say kudos to Lee and everybody else who, it takes a lot of time to read through 33 grant applications. And go through the scoring is not easy peasy. It's not one score. There's all sorts of criteria. So thank you for doing that and for your service and for attending the meeting.
It was really interesting to see all the different types of events,
Yeah.
how many, and to go through the scoring, overnight stay, how many people, how many days do they do this, and putting all those numbers together and then giving them point total and then sitting down and talking about it.
Yeah.
I do have a question, since the horse parade was canceled, what's that do to like the funding of that for this year?
That was a trauma effect for me because the last time we had this conversation was during and after COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And ironically, we have horse COVID.
Yeah.
But I have to get back with them and find out what monies were spent, because it seems like they were planning to go with the event up until literally the very end.
Yep.
And they probably used some of that money for marketing. So I have to find out exactly what was spent, what wasn't spent, and then work it out with them, because they did receive a grant again. So we will do that, and we've done it before because of the COVID situation as well. And we just have to work that out with them.
To see the lighting ceremony, the downtown, the rescue of Santa Claus on Weavers, just a number of people that are downtown, and then to follow that up with the extravaganza out at the Sports Pavilion and the horse parade. There's so many different activities like that.
Lawrence
Bring a lot of
loves
people.
events. That even shows up in a lot of our survey data, is that people want events, which is great. But I will mention, Roger oversees the right-of-way permitting, which is not cut and dry, because every event is unique and has certain, different needs and wants for what they're doing, whether it's a parade, an event in South Park, or other events around town. So
Yeah, I
there's a
did.
lot more to it than meets the eye.
In your report tonight, are you sharing the numbers that I shared with you in terms of the last year versus this year? That
Oh, sorry, I didn't
Okay.
have that for
Okay.
tonight, but we can certainly bring that up at another opportunity. But yeah, so thank you for that. And yes, it is. It's also apples and oranges, because every event is different and unique. And just, this is pretty common, that the ask is at least double, if not a little more than double,
Of what we have.
of what we have. And so it's not an easy thing to do. And I think you all did a really good job of giving earnest money towards the events, even when you cut back by a percentage, to make sure that as many events could receive funding as possible.
Right.
So yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I have a question. So the transient guest tax has been increased, and part of that is to go to World Cup funding, which is to enhance unmistakable events. So that budget has not been amended yet by the city, but assuming all of that happens in the first quarter, how will that affect the funding for the things that have been approved, or how will it go toward any of
That
those
is to be
events?
determined. I don't know. We haven't talked about how that will play out, and whether or not certain World Cup only events would be established and then funded with those funds.
Okay.
So it may be a different process and approach altogether. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that yet.
Okay.
Thank you for the
And I would be remiss if we didn't mention Louise's name with that increase in the
Yeah.
transient guest tax.
Yes.
So kudos to Louise.
Thank you. John, we're now down to other items. Do you want to?
Yeah, bear with me, I have 3 other items. The first is, can you give us an update on the World Cup?
I can. So on Friday, there was the FIFA draw. There are the groups that are going through Kansas City are groups E, F, and J plays twice. On Saturday, the whole schedule was released, and we know that the first game in Kansas City is Argentina, Algeria. We're going to see Tunisia, Ecuador, and then Austria, Algeria, and Curacao, and I'm losing the fourth one.
Austria, Argentina, Ecuador,
Curacao.
Netherlands.
Netherlands, yes. So some big players are going to be right in our backyard. And as we've talked about before, FIFA doesn't like travel times. And so when you look at Dallas, you're talking about like Argentina plays in Dallas twice and Japan is in Dallas. So some activity is happening since Friday. The ORIAD has been contacted by 3 countries, which is a really good sign. And so some tours will be happening at Rock Chalk and the ORIAD this week. So that's very exciting.
Neat.
So we are in the mix. One of the biggest things that happened last week, in addition to the draw, is that KC26 released its transportation plan. And Lawrence is the end of the line stop to get in and out of Fan Fest, Union Station. So we will have a dedicated bus that will leave Central Station every 30 minutes going in and out of Fan Fest. Cool. This really, really puts us on the map and makes us a serious destination, and we just couldn't be more proud of that. So we'll be working with the community to make sure that, you know, there's connections from the Central Station to downtown and to other, you know, establishments. So people coming, and it is supposed to run every day of the tournament with a few days after the tournament, because you can go into downtown and take an express connector out to the airport. You can take an express connector out to Arrowhead. You can go to Lee's Summit. It's really opening up our entire transportation landscape. So few, you know, like, we don't know how much it's going to cost yet, but it is going to go to from early June until a few days after the tournament. So I really hope people use it. It's a motor coach. It's got Wi-Fi and TVs and a bathroom, so you won't miss anything. And we really want people to be there taking that. So that was a big nod from the whole organization to include Lawrence out here, which is, and on the meeting that happened, I was thanking the organizer, and he said, well, I'm a Jayhawk, and I've spent time in Lawrence, so I love Lawrence. So that was kind of fun, too. But, yeah, so anyway, we are going to benefit a lot from that, hopefully. So thank you for letting me update.
Oh, it's so exciting.
It's incredibly exciting.
I mean,
Yeah.
We have I don't think, I can't even imagine, you know, it's hard to imagine so many people. And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really,
Aren't
really
they talking
is.
about like 600,000 in Kansas City?
Yep, 600,000 in and
the air.
out. So,
Incredible.
yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
You can't believe all the committees that are, coordinating committees that are working too.
So exciting.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Thank you. The other thing, I wanted to follow up on Wiljan's question about the farmer's market. Have we been, or has the department been involved in this?
Yeah, so Mark, who's approaching the podium now, can give you an update. But yes, we have, and we're part of the committee. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so they're doing a feasibility study, farmers market. So there's a steering committee that's a very small group of farmers market people. Then there's a larger committee that I'm on, which is city staff, county staff. So it's been kind of an interesting process in that they have some parameters they're trying to stay with. They want to be downtown, period, in a discussion. We won't look outside of downtown. We need X number of stalls. We want a building. So the wants are very big, and the limited availability of space downtown is very, very limited. So one of my concerns, honestly, personally, is the group that I'm on, we talked about 6 or 7 different sites. And then the next time I saw it, it was down to 2 sites.
Oh,
And the 2 sites were 2 parks. I'm adamant it cannot go in South Park. There's 70 plus events in South Park, and then there's over 160 reservations or programs in the community building every Saturday. So it won't fit program-wise. We can fit it physically in the park, it won't fit by program. So all of those other 70 activities would have to go away for us to have a farmer's market every Saturday. So that one, to me, was a little bit shocking that it came and they popped it up as a number one alternative. So the Watson Park one has been on conversation longer. So that originally started, and everybody says I came up with that, and that is actually true. The conversation that we started with was 7th Street, and then we put parking on both sides. We could block off the street, and then that becomes some nice parking for the swimming pool, right? When we're not doing farmer's market. Well, it morphed into a very large footprint with over 100 stalls. So they're still looking for the perfect spot, and in my opinion, they need to work back to where they're at now and see if they can improve the current site plus the parking lot across the street, and somehow maybe a ability to close the road and interact between those two parking areas. So the conversation's not done. I don't like where we headed, honestly, from a park perspective.
Would it help if we weighed in?
I know right now I've spoken with Lynn Zollner and the historical designation. I know they're working on a plan that they want to take to the commission. And so for now, we're waiting to get direction back from the commission if they're going to go that route. So I know that's in the works.
Because I would, I'd be willing to initiate something from the board to the city commission saying, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but, taking away space from parks, really?
Yeah.
Get serious.
Yeah.
What about, and Wilgen, I was talking to him the other day, and he said, well, what about where Public Works is now?
Down on 11th Street,
Yeah.
I think that's too far out.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, there'd
really close down.
be parking, there's buildings,
Yeah, and again, it's the scope that they define for the consultant. And that's what's difficult, because the consultant is doing their job. They are looking at every possible nook and cranny downtown. So I don't blame them. It's sometimes I think we restricted their view so much that it's almost an impossible task, because we're trying to make it twice as big as it currently is and build some, pavilions and make covered parking. And it's I love the idea, and I'm fully on board with it. It's just, there's hard to find a spot downtown that will fit. So I appreciate, I have 3 or 4 other sites in mind that I think would be great.
Mark, we talk a lot about transparency, and it doesn't sound like this has been out there very much, that people really know about it. Now, maybe I just missed it.
Yeah.
But what about public input? We have meetings all the time about, I know Old West Lawrence, that neighborhood association is not too thrilled about this closing 7th Street and eliminating parks and some of that stuff.
Yeah,
I think public input would be very important when you start taking away parks, particularly.
Right. Yeah, and I think, we're halfway through process. So what the consultant is trying to do is get down to the 1 or 2 spots that they believe is feasible, and then present that to the city commission. Then that's going to go public, then the conversation will start. So they honestly started out looking at all the parking lots downtown, or any place that they knew that may become a vacant spot. And, one by one, they kind of got dropped off, and then they were just left with 2 parks. Well, that's when we kind of start to interact and go, look, you can't just grab a third of South Park and say that's yours. So that's difficult. Watson Park doesn't have the events or the programming that South Park does, but is still seen as a viable historic park. So
And particularly if they're trying to get it on the historic or the state register in 171 years.
Yeah.
Is what Mike mentioned.
Yeah.
And like he said, once you lose it, we'll never get it back.
Well, both those parks are the original plat of the city. So yes, they are 2 most historic parks. So
And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of times when those things come to Lynn for her committee to review, we review those as well as to our advisory board. A lot of times they'll kick it to our board before they go to the city commission, correct? So
Can we
that's where
depend-
they would be
Can we
coming
depend on
from.
that?
Yeah. that's a good
Because if we can't, I want the board, I'm going
I
to,
do know that they've been instructed to go to the city commission before the board, yes, because of the way the boards are set up now.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it,
okay. Yes, this
Yeah.
new structure I'm learning too, so thank you, Lindsay. I didn't know
well,
if that would be.
I think that we should take some initiative. The board should take some initiative.
Based on public comment that you're
Beg your
getting.
pardon?
Based on the public comment you're getting.
Yes.
I believe that, in my mind, you're getting
Oh.
public comment telling you, hey, this is not right. This is not where we want to be.
Well, that's because that's the only information that's been provided to us, so I
Yeah.
think we'd have to,
And I don't think, you haven't seen what the consultants have come up with. So nobody has, just that very small group of people have. It looks really cool, but then you try to fit the use into the parks, and the use really won't fit. None of the parades could happen, because we block Mass Street, which would cut off all the access to the farmer's market. And that's every Saturday.
I think once it's affecting parks and recreation and our parks, I think our advisory board should have a little bit of input with that.
Yeah.
So wait,
Yeah, absolutely.
but, hold on. I just want to clarify something that was said. I think I understood what you said to mean it would go to the commission before it would go to us.
correct. And if they direct it to come to the board, then that's when we would have the discussion.
That seems
we're-
backwards.
Yeah, we're advisors to the commission.
mean,
So
so-
I feel like we should,
So why would the
Say
public come to
something.
us if we can't do anything about it?
exactly.
Exactly. So I think it sounds as though we would want to not miss an opportunity. Like, it sounds like if we wait, it could be
Well, I
too
think
late.
they're in I mean, the consultants still are doing their work presently, correct?
They are.
So when their report comes, then the city commission will receive that, and then they determine what they want to do.
Yeah.
And-
that-
and
there's
with
no
this-
reason
But
why,
with this other thing working with the Heritage Commission, that's a separate piece. And so those two things are going different directions. And so then the city commission will then say, you need to review this, and you need to review this. You may get both of the items.
We may not get either one.
That could be, but that's up to the city commission.
No,
You know-
why would they want to come to us?
yeah, no, I think what we should do is we should draft a one paragraph. We understand that the farmer's market is looking at that, blah, 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 blah. We also understand that it will have an impact, could have an impact on not only the historic nature of the parks, but just the idea of cutting down park space. And we want to alert the commission that we have grave concerns about that. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think there's anything that would limit us from initiating, just a brief memo to the city commission saying, we want you to know that we are very concerned. If we are, I assume we are.
I share your concern.
Okay, I'm going to volunteer. I shouldn't do. How about
Thanks, John.
I draft a little something?
Do you want to, or do you want, I can draft something. You said you shouldn't volunteer, but I'd be happy to draft something.
Okay. Then why don't you send it to me,
Okay.
and then we'll work on it. And
Is that,
Send it to me to send to the board, and I'm going to.
why, we're not a majority of a quorum.
I understand that.
So she could communicate with me, as long as we don't do a serial.
That's what I'm concerned happening. That's why I'd like to be, at least be the mediary. just
Okay,
to kind of, I think that's the better way.
Okay.
Porter, I'll let you weigh in too, since you have another board as well.
That would be the most cautious way, in a good way, I think, so.
Mark, do you have a problem with us taking that kind of initiative?
No, I think that's fine, because I think at some point in time, what we as a staff, what we as a board think is important. And I think that's a good
Yeah,
action.
I just don't.
I'm a little frustrated sitting on the committee, honestly, because I kind of wear two hats. That I'm trying to make this work, but then again, I'm sitting as a Parks and Rec employee who's been managing these parks for over 30 years and going, I don't see how this is going to work.
So you want to place this on the agenda for January,
Yeah,
for the full board to find your statement? Okay,
is that okay? Okay.
okay.
There's something you may track is when the historic item for Watson Park goes on the agenda, that may be an opportunity to
Okay.
comment.
Did he know when that was going to go on?
I don't.
I don't think they're going to be ready till January
Yeah,
at this point. But I don't know.
I don't either.
Not
I mean, we
involved.
could let you know if that's what you want to do.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Do you have another item?
I do.
Okay.
Cameron's Bluff, where are we on Cameron's Bluff?
That's another issue that will be taken to the city commission for direction,
Oh, okay.
because they have to direct city staff to then make it a priority or something for us to focus on. And so, yeah,
Okay, because they just,
I've been in communication with them as well. Yeah, I mean, it's
and all the work they put in,
yeah.
okay. Good,
So that, yeah, we'll probably be hearing something about that soon.
thank you. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other items on the board? All right. We will move down to follow-up items. Is
We
there?
did the homework and we discussed, so we will still continue to work on that.
Great.
And just to get clarification, are you wanting to have this KPI return next time as well, or your specific item?
I think general KPI would
Okay.
make sense.
Okay.
Okay. And then moving down the agenda, I see we have the return of division updates.
We'll start with parks. You're first.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to just kind of give you an update on a few of the projects we're working on in kind of the parks and maintenance world, just to kind of give you a flavor of what's going on at Parks and Rec. So the outdoor pool renovation project has started. If you drive by, you can't tell. So currently, we're working inside the 2 locker rooms. If you go in there right now, there's no floor, so it's nice and gravel. I think we'll probably put a new concrete floor in. But, so that's happening. The entrance is going to happen. So what's basically happening in phase 1 is the building. So there won't be a lot of outward stuff. All the pool renovation will start as soon as we close pools in '26. So we should have the bathhouse and all that done before we open. So hopefully, if everything goes right, the public won't really notice the project going on. So that's cool. Sports pavilion, we're replacing the turf in the soccer area. So this is something we kind of pulled up and said, hey, you know what? World Cup's coming. We really should look a little better than we look. So we were able to pull that funding together and push a CIP project through to the City Commission. They approved it. We hope to start it mid-December and have it done by end of January.
Oh,
So
awesome.
we're moving pretty quickly on it, but again, we wanted to have that done before World Cup kind of came to town. So installation of the raw water pump station at the golf course. So we're picking up water that's going to the water treatment plant. We're grabbing it before it goes to the water treatment plant, shipping it to the golf course, to the sports, or to the youth sports complex and the softball complex. So we'll be irrigating out there with raw water as soon as this is done, which is an amazing savings. So this will save us over $1 million a year in water cost. So I can't wait to get this done. We've been working on it for about 6 or 7 years. So it's, I hope to have it done by spring. So that's fun. We replaced all the golf carts. So that was, we're on a 5-year lease out there. The old carts lease was up, so we got all brand new carts ready to go for 5 more years. In that, we're doing something a little different, that we're going to have basically a TV screen in each one of them, and we'll be able to put advertising up, and it's basically all controlled through a computer at the pro shop. So, and if you drive up to a green, you may get an ad for whatever you want to, you know, the next burger place or whatever. But also we're geofencing the carts, so we can control that carts can't go off through the native grass, If you get there, you'll get an alert, and you have to back straight up from where you came. So that's kind of next level technology, but we're kind of excited about it to keep carts where they're supposed to be. So that's going to be fun. Golf course concessions is underway. The renovation of the concession stand's underway. It was just looking a little tired. So we decided to go in. We're going to put new counters in. We're doing new lighting. We're doing new furniture. Just things to make it a little more comfortable. The way it was before, you really didn't spend any time in there. You kind of went in and grabbed your beer or your soda and headed out the door. So we're working on that. Hopefully it's a little more friendly. So we're going to do some different TVs and whatnot. ADA compliance concrete replacement at Dad Perry Park. So we had a whole bunch of areas in the park that really the sidewalks are too small, or they're tilted, or they're all over the place. So we're going to spend about $30,000 just fixing concrete. So that's stuff that nobody will really notice once it's done, but it really needs to be done. And the cemetery, we're working on rules and regulation updates as well as rates. So every year we usually look at rates of cemeteries and are we competitive with the market, and just making sure we're not too high, not too low. But we are kind of the only game in town in Lawrence. But we also want to look at our people coming from other cities because we're too low. And in some cases, that's the truth. So we're working our rates. We're working the rules and regulations a little bit. That's usually, we'll have new rates out by the first of the year. There's 4 playgrounds we're renovating this winter. So the biggest one is Water Tower Park. This is part of the whole water tower move thing. This is rehabbing the park. So that's going to start, actually it was supposed to start last week, but didn't. So that one will start soon. Broken Arrow Park on the south end, which was the old county end, we're taking out old playground equipment, putting new equipment in. Dad Perry Park on the north side, again, same thing, taking out old equipment, putting new equipment in. And then Prairie Park Nature Center, there was a little playground around the Nature Center parking lot. We've taken a lot of that out already because it kind of got demolished. So we have a plan to replace all that by spring. So 4 playgrounds in one winter is kind of a lot, but they all need to be done. Downtown, we're replacing tree grates still. We've been in a 15-year program to take out the old concrete wells and put in tree grates, put new trees in, so did 6 of those. We're starting a stump removal program, which Mr. Wilgen, I wish he was still here because he calls me every once in a while, letting me know where another stump is. So we're starting that, so that's a winter project. And then leaf cleanup. So it's kind of weird the way it happened this year. We still had leaves on the trees. It snowed. All the leaves came down with the snow. Well, they were all under the snow once the snow melts. So we're in the process of trying to clean all that up in all the parks and the golf course. So just kind of a lot of stuff going on. Seems like we never slow down.
Yeah.
Any questions on any of that stuff? The golf cart lease, I want to hit on just really quick. So it's expensive to lease those. It's like $140,000 a year, but we make $400,000 a year. So that we triple the cost of it in revenue. It's very, very popular. Our course is set up where you almost have to use a cart. So it sounds like a lot of money until you realize the revenue that it produces off of those. And we're hopefully with sponsorships, we're able to really push that number up if we can sell a lot of local sponsorships. So thanks.
Thank you.
All right, for recreation, we're doing a lot of fun stuff this time of year. So the Lifelong group took a trip to see A Christmas Carol in Kansas City. Our Unified group did a Winter Wonderland Holiday Light Tour over the weekend, and they're doing a lot of fun stuff. The Nature Center had their Turkey Time event right before Thanksgiving, and then they're doing a Winter Wonderland event on the 13th and the 20th. So a lot going on over the next few weeks. And then, Mark, I'm sorry, I don't even know if you mentioned this, the updates to the UP Depot. Did you say this? Okay, I didn't think you did. We've expanded the community room at the depot and installed new flooring, made some space, added more tables, moved the kitchen to the back, kind of set up a serving area, and it looks fantastic if you haven't been there. And we have seen an increase in reservations already, and people have switched from one location to another once they heard that the renovations have been made. So we made some really great updates for that facility. For recreation instruction, our fitness classes continue to roll. We're going to be doing some free fitness demos to start the winter program. So if you're interested in trying out a program, we do offer a free program for the first time. So if there's any fitness program that any of you want to try, let us know. And then for sports, we had over 300 teams participate in youth and adult sports over the fall, and we're currently enrolling for winter. So lots
We're
to do.
starting enrollment for winter spring tomorrow at 8 a.m.
There we go, 8 a.m.
Tuesday, December 9th. So,
Right on time.
yes,
Calendar for my
8 a.m.
Yeah. All right. Porter.
Culture report. Mark's talking.
And events, hopefully.
And what?
And events.
And events, communication
and
events. Well, actually, yes, I want to brag a little bit. So we were talking before the meeting started, the holiday extravaganza was a great success this year. Kudos to my staff, Roger, Abby, and Emma, and then our fabulous part-time people. We have really done, so last year at the end of the year, we set up an entire new structure for our artisan fairs. We wanted to raise the bar a little bit, but also set the fairs up so that they're more manageable for staff so we can handle these things better. And I want to say it's been a great success. Each of the fairs they're all delightful in their own unique way. But to see the extravaganza and how well it went was really, and Roger and I were out there parking cars and, Sports Pavilion Lawrence, you might be surprised, is not really designed to be doing this type of thing, but we've managed to figure it out. Actually, Mark and his team has been really helpful. We put more asphalt out there, which was I haven't told you that. Thank you so much. So anyway, every year we're making little improvements, and we got a lot of positive feedback from the vendors themselves. That things went really well for them. They were happy with the amount of people that came. So I just want to brag on that a little
One
bit.
comment that I would make, because a lot of this stuff, we look at the KPIs in tourism, and we get a lot of people from out of town, not only vendors, but also people coming in for this event. I think it was at, what time? Almost 10:30 when I left to come to the office because somebody forgot something. The parking lot was completely full, clear to the end, and people were parking in the grass beyond that. Now, this is the whole Rock Chalk Park parking lot. It was absolutely packed. We had people complaining about parking, that they had to they had to walk too far.
Wow.
So yeah, that was
It's a great problem to have, I think.
That's a really good problem.
I was going to say, golf.
This Sunday, December 14th at 2 p.m. at the Lead Center is the Phoenix Award ceremony. And as I mentioned, we're very interested in following our KPIs and the strategic plan. So we're doing this in conjunction with the winter, help me out. There's a word I want.
Artisan fair.
Winter Artisan Fair, but there's a different term. Inclusive Artisan Fair.
Oh,
Market, yes. Inclusive market, thank you, I couldn't think of the term. We're really happy to do that in conjunction with them. Monique Mercurio, who sits on the Art Commission, is part of this, so excited to do it at the Lead Center. And the awards are just gorgeous, crafted by C. Brian Young, local artist. And the Phoenix awardees this year are Rachel Lackey, who received the Advocate for Indigenous Artists and Makers Award, Walt Hull, who, if you don't know Walt, he's in his 80s now, but he's still blacksmithing every day. Exceptional artistic achievement. Jen Unakis, who's a great artist in town, but also the volunteer that leads the Art in the Park. Mark Cowardin, who is a really tremendous artist who's going gangbusters in Kansas City and across the state with his artwork. Brandon Eisman, also Deja Brooks, a drag artist, and Nick Carswell, musical arts and advocacy. So really good group. Please come out. It's free. It'll be fun, and you can also attend the other artisan fair. And last but not least, the community arts grants. For next year, the grant application will open on December 31st and close on February 2nd. So anybody interested in those community arts grants can look for that application opening at the very end of the month. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the division report.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to maybe try to put it back together with a document that we can share ahead of time, like we've done previously, so
You
we'll,
requested it, and Lindsay brought it back.
got it back.
She got your feedback, and she put it back on the agenda.
Thank you. Director's report?
Okay, I just have one additional thing to bring up, something we wanted to discuss with the board. As we've been talking about, currently we're without a director, and I will be interim for at least 6 months or longer until we get a new city manager. Knowing we're going to get a new city manager, we have World Cup coming. We wanted to discuss the format of this board and see if there's any interest. It's up to the board if you'd like to consider meeting every other month, or some boards meet quarterly. I know that might be too long of a gap in between. Something we've talked about is, I know you're wanting a lot of data and want to have reports and feedback, especially with new membership fees. How's it going? How's that going to look? If we had a little bit more time in between meetings, we'd have better data, more accurate data that we could share. And so just something we wanted to put out there for the board to consider, with just a lot going on next year, but
And I would
kind of,
say that when we started this new Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, when it changed, we had that first meeting and it was setting the time and date of the meeting, and we just kind of fell in line and never really had discussion of the committee, in terms of what that looked like. Again, because the KPIs is really what's guiding us, and even staff, as staff, I didn't really know how this was going to be, how it was really going to go. So to me, if you are wanting to entertain this, I would say let's put it on the agenda and talk about it. And then, see if there is something we can do, or if there is enough, if you want to have change now, we can change it. But to me, I think it's more of a discussion point for this committee and what you see it really shaping out to be, as we're kind of digging into the KPIs, and I think that discussion needs to continue, as you said, putting it on the agenda to talk more about it as well, so.
that was all I had.
Any discussion on what Lindsay raised?
I think it'd be good to discuss it and put it on the agenda the next time. I'd like to know what other advisory boards do and how often they meet.
Okay, I'll
Kind of
put
their-
that together.
A little bit.
Do that?
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be good information to have.
I just assumed everybody met once a month.
We're happy to, we can look that up and, provide that at the next meeting.
And I also want to thank you for the information on projects and
Yeah.
programs.
Great.
Those are really helpful. I think if people watch this, they need to know what you guys are doing. And we kind of know, but not really. I kind of know because I've been there, but, I mean, it's really impressive that everything that you guys do with programs, and it's incredible.
Well, especially this time of year too. I mean, our city looks amazing. There's a lot going on, so.
I mean, and people,
pretty cool.
you look at the lights downtown, who do you
Yep.
think did the lights?
Yep.
Parks and Recreation.
Right.
I mean, they added some. It looks really, really neat.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so we'll put on the agenda for the next meeting?
Doesn't hurt, yeah.
Okay.
The conversation.
Anything else for Lindsay? Okay. The next meeting would be January.
Well, we have the
Oh,
future
I'm sorry.
agenda items
Oh,
on
I'm
there.
sorry.
And I know we did talk about World Cup a little bit. I'm assuming we would have a bigger presentation at some point. Do we want to leave it on there? Is that what I'm?
Yeah, the burning question is whether we'll be a base camp.
Right.
And it looks like that isn't gonna, it would be toward the end of January.
Right.
At the latest, that we would know that. So, I'm happy to provide an update after that, but I'm not sure there will be a lot to report until we
Right.
know that.
So and I'm just So I'm just wanting to make sure I'm getting these items on here and getting them dated, because if we start adding them, we just have a big collection, a big parking lot of all these items. So if we were to say like maybe March, if we are designated as a town or a selected city, then would March maybe work, or do we want to look April, or is that too late in the game, or, I mean,
Yeah, I think March would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
so I'll put it tentatively for March then, okay. What about this, Lee, your group? I know we wanted to wait until after the first of the year.
Yeah, and I think we've got a meeting set up with Mark, don't we, Mark, sometime here in December?
Yeah, we're trying to find a date.
Right.
Yeah.
So, January, I mean, I think they've got the funding pretty close to do the application.
So we could maybe look, I mean, again, this may all change too with this discussion on the board, and it's,
Right.
but like February? Is that-
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly?
And I'm meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay,
I mean,
because I don't want to leave these things hanging out there, and then we build this big agenda item, and we're not able to get to some of these things. So I want to kind of get that kind of crafted, so when we meet, we know what's all, because I don't want to be here for 4 hours or 3 hours or 2 hours, or try to keep them to one. Well, it looks like 1.5, but, and then the other two, I don't even know where the Underground Railroad folks are on their project.
I know that they've shown us where
Right.
thinking these could go, but where they are as far as.
Right, the fundraising is not there, okay. And then the capital improvement CIP thing, that'll be,
That might be a good January topic, just because we should be getting into the next round. So we may know the rules of engagement.
okay. All right, well, we'll keep that in mind as we work through December,
Okay.
okay? All right, sorry to
No, you're fine.
steal your thunder on the calendar.
Yeah, so our next advisory board meeting is January 12th at 5:30. That takes us to the end of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Taylor,
Second.
John seconds, all in favor? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.